social media for building audiences. And in my humble opinion, it's all about relationships. So here's a little tale of two businesses, okay? Meet Brenda. So Brenda is very focused and driven on creating a business. She works diligently. She's been working diligently for months to launch a new product, and so she's very focused on just building this product and all the things that go along with that. She sacrifices spending time with her friends and spends more time working on her business, and as much as she can, she does research, and she's just really wanting to learn everything that she can about getting this business going. She doesn't really spend time doing any networking, simply because she feels that every moment of her time needs to be spent on developing her product. And she really just wants to get her business going so that she can make some money and pay her bills and have a lifestyle that she really wants. Anybody know someone like Brenda? I was kind of like Brenda for a long time. All right, meet Sue. So Sue is also very focused. She's passionate and creative. She regularly collaborates with others. She offers free classes and shares information with people about what she's passionate about. She's active on social media and other business networks, and in fact, she spends a lot of time with her friends and shares information about what she's doing with them as well. She's also launching her own business soon, and her focus is on helping others. She also sends out a monthly newsletter and keeps track of the people that she's sending her information out to, building an email list. Anybody know Sue? Actively doing the things that Sue does? So the thing that I feel social media allows us to do and audience building allows us to do is actually, it's like laying the tracks for the train. Okay, so if you're not spending time building your audience and building relationships with those people in your audience, it's like not laying the tracks. So you're building your business is the train, and your audience building is the track. So you kind of have to have that track laid out before you can actually move the train. Does that make sense? So audience versus relationships. Sue may not realize it, but her activities are building relationships and actually laying the tracks for building a strong audience. While on the flip side, Brenda is actually hurting her launch by not laying the tracks. So I have a list here of a few different relationship building activities that I think can be very important and vital to actually using social media in a way that's going to help you to build your audience while building relationships. So the first thing is keeping it real. Authenticity is like one of my major words. Being authentic and expressing yourself both on and offline is really important. So, for example, having opportunities to come and be in a venue like this, where we are connected on social media. A lot of us actually met through social media before we met in person. But then actually coming and being a part of something where you're getting a chance to actually meet these people, using your own, who you really are and being authentic with who you are and sharing that with people. That's very important. So again, it's about using your own real voice and style in your messaging on your social media and also in person. And then collaborating with other people, networking with them, and getting to know who they are. The second point is building trust and authority. So by sharing your knowledge and giving freely and consistently on social media, you actually can give people a feeling of trust in you. I've had many people over the last couple of weeks even tell me that there's certain things that I've done in the past that has given them a sense of trust in me, so that when I share something with them, they automatically are agreeable to it because they know me, I've gotten to know them, and so that trust and authority is there. So again, it's sharing your blog posts and articles when you are writing and publishing information about whatever it is that you do. Again, that's building the trust and authority that you have and the knowledge that you are bringing to the table, but then you want to share those blog posts on social media so that other people can read about that and get that level of trust and authority in you. The other thing is sharing your pictures or creating those cute little sayings that are called memes. Again, when you are doing something that is authentic to you, and then you put that out there on social media, it's really attractive to people to see pictures of things that you're doing, so that those things get shared a lot. And then also sharing what you're doing and offering a free class or workshop. I'm seeing a lot more activity with having workshops in the area, which I think is great. But I think that occasionally, if you throw a free one in there, it might do a little bit more for you in terms of actually getting those people to be on your list and helping them to actually know who you are, because sometimes they'll be more willing to pay for something later on when you kind of establish that trust and authority. So the next one is joining your audience. So you'll find group pages where there's people who are engaged in the things that you like or the things that your audience likes. But what I see a lot happening is that sometimes we put our messages there, and so we're asking people to look at what we're doing, but we're not necessarily engaging with them in the conversations that they're having in those groups. So it's really important to actually be a member of the group, comment on other people's things that they're posting, get into conversations with them about what's important to them, contribute to the conversation, but don't necessarily sell yourself in that situation. It's more about, again, the give and take and learning about them, and not so much of putting yourself out there, of whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, so the next one is listening and understanding. So it's really important to study good communication, and one of the number one parts of really excellent communication is being a good listener. So when you're on social media and you're engaging in these groups and you're finding out where your customers are and the people that are interested in whatever it is that you're doing, listen more than you're speaking and find out what it is that they're interested in. So you can actually do surveys where you can ask them questions on social media about whatever the topic is. And then once you find out what it is that they're interested in and what their needs are, then you have a better opportunity to deliver whatever it is that they're asking for. Budget and spend wisely. So I primarily use Facebook for my marketing. I do have a presence on other social media platforms, but I find that sometimes it's easier to just kind of focus on one and learn as much as you can about that one and kind of move into the other ones. But on Facebook, I do advocate spending a little bit of money on advertising, even if it's $1 a day, to build that audience and to get people seeing what you're doing on your pages. There's people out there who don't spend any money and they have groups that grow really well. So there are definitely ways to do it without an ad spend. But I think that if you really want to grow your audience a little bit more rapidly, you're going to have to do one of two things: either spend a little bit of money or spend a lot more time. So, you have to gauge it based on what you're able to do. So, like I said, if you have maybe $1 a day to spend, I would up that as much as you can. You'll need to make sure that you're marketing, that you're budgeting that money in the most effective way possible. So you want to spend money to amplify the right messages. You don't want to spend money on other people's messages. For example, I was working with somebody one time, and they posted a blog post on their Facebook page. It was from somebody else's blog, some other information. It was relevant to their audience, but it wasn't their content. So they took it from someone else's website, posted it on their Facebook page, and then they paid to amplify that message. So it's like, well, yeah, you might be getting more people seeing your Facebook page, but if they click on that, then you just paid to send someone to someone else's website. They'll probably thank you for that, but that's not what you meant to do. So you want to make sure that you're spending money to amplify the right messages, and that's, in my opinion, is what you're giving. I think on social media, it's really more important to amplify the messages of what you're giving rather than what you have to sell, if that makes sense. So the value or the benefit to the customer is what you're giving. And so that's the information that you want to amplify. And the next one is to have patience. It does take some time to build a strong audience, and it takes time to work with people. You may not necessarily on social media and on the internet be working with people one-on-one, but on some level you may be. So if you're looking at it from that standpoint, it does take time to develop those relationships, but the time that you're spending to get to know those audience members and to be delivering what they're wanting, to do the surveys and to put information out there that is really important to them, it will have a benefit in the end and it will be worth it. You'll have more loyal fans, you'll have repeat customers, and you'll also have insights and market research that you can use to develop your business. And so the last thing that I want to share, I think this is the last one, yeah, that's the last slide. So the last thing, and I think I touched on it a little bit already, and this is something that just is really personal to me. This is something that I feel I'm really compelled to do in my business, and so I'll share it, and if you feel compelled to do it in your business as well, then that's awesome. That's awesome too. But for me, giving freely is really strong. Relationship building is not about what you'll gain. Okay? It's not about what you'll gain. It's about what you're giving to those other people, but your gain will be in direct proportion to what you give. So don't go into it thinking I'm doing this to get something from it, but just know that you will. You'll be given in measure to whatever it is that you're giving. So that's pretty much what I had to share today about relationship building and building an audience on social media. I don't know if anybody has any questions about anything that I had to share today, but yes.
So you mentioned that Facebook is more trying to advertise at least $1 a day you have it. I have a question about that because then how do you make sure that your advertisement gets who you want to engage with and want to bring likes of people that in the future will not engage? My question comes because of the problem that you post on Facebook. You will not be seen that everybody that likes your page, you will be seen only by a small percentage. And the more likes that don't engage with you have, the less relevant will be the post and the less you will be seen. So, do you have any advice to kind of filter out the likes that will not be actually engaging with you?
Yes, I do. So Facebook has a really strong audience targeting algorithm. And so they have tools when you go into the advertising section on Facebook. You can look down on the left-hand side and there's an audience insights. And so you can actually use that to figure out who your audience is based on, what their interests are, what their demographics are, what their income. You can look at all those different things. You can look at their locations, and you can actually figure out exactly who that person is. And then when you create your ads, you can tell Facebook, I want you to find this type of person to show my ad to. And then as the ads are running, you'll be able to go in there and look at the information that you're getting in terms of the amount that you're paying per click and make adjustments and lower that cost per click. The lower that amount is per click, the more targeted your audience is, and the more likely it is that those are going to be people who engage with what you're posting. So yeah, so that's what I would do, is just go in there and look at that and play around with that audience feature that's in there. Did anybody else have any questions? Thank you for that. That was a great question. Okay, well, I thank you for all sitting through my presentation.